Hi parents, this is Julie Federico. This project is a little unscripted. 2 weeks ago, the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade, and now we are in post Roe versus Wade land. And that makes my heart very, very heavy. I was very sad when that happened. I worked as a middle school counselor for 25 years. I've seen what happens to unwanted children. Nobody asked me because I wouldn't have voted for this. So now what do? How do you pick up the pieces of this? I write prevention books on children, on domestic violence prevention, school violence prevention, child abuse prevention, all this prevention stuff. So now parents need a whole pack of prevention tools to guide their young women, their teenagers through a world where abortion is not that easy to get anymore. I think parents need to start having conversations with their teenagers about this, I would say weekly or definitely monthly. And you might be scared to death saying, oh my God, Julie, what do I say? And as always, I'm here to talk about what nobody wants to talk about. I've made other videos for parents about young children and body safety. I think this topic of abortion and not being able to get abortion really begs the question, who are you having sex with? How are you having sex with? And do you want to be having sex with them? I really think they should make vasectomies mandatory for all men 18 to 22 years old. That would kind of cut down on this pregnancy problem. Women aren't getting pregnant alone, but that seems to be the theme out there, that they just get pregnant and get abortions because they want to, and that's not the truth. Anytime you get an abortion, it comes with a lot of heavy material. So I'm going to give parents some tools about how to talk to their kids about this. I'll tell you exactly one thing not to do. And I learned this at school last year. I was the 9th grade counselor for 500 freshmen at a large school here in Denver. I had 2 little 14-year-olds come and tell me their mom said they're going to go out for ice cream. And lo and behold, they get their shoes on, they get in the car, they go out for ice cream. They didn't go to ice cream. They went to Planned Parenthood, and their family put a patch in their arm, the contraceptive patch. And they did this without talking to them, which I think is child abuse in and of itself. Do not put birth control in your daughter without talking to them. For the love of God, have a conversation. I think Jerry Seinfeld did a great piece on this, and Google it sometime. Jerry Seinfeld, are you sponge worthy? So Elaine only had 1 pack of sponges left. They'd taken them off the market, so she wasn't going to sleep with anyone if they weren't sponge worthy enough to allow her to spend one of her 30 sponges that she only had left. Parents, your daughters need that information. They don't need to be sleeping with men that aren't sponge-worthy. You're not a sponge-worthy man if you won't text the day after. You're not a sponge-worthy man if you won't wear a condom. And I'll say that twice. You're not a sponge-worthy man if you won't wear a condom. In this day and age now, condoms have become extremely valuable. But the whole thought process now has changed because the stakes are so high. If you live in a southern state, your options for abortion are minimal. Right now you can still get an IUD. This is 2022. I don't know if that's going to be outdated information in a few years. Basically, you want to start talking to your kids about sex. How to have really good sex. How not to have really bad sex. The way you have really bad sex is to have sex with someone who's not sponge worthy. Don't let your daughters fold and give their virginity to some jackass. Say that to them. That's pretty cut and dry. Kids understand that. They really do. And your daughter needs dialogue with you. They need dialogue with you to go through all these changes that they're going through and all of this sexuality stuff and all of this stuff about boys. And now the stakes are so high. There's really no second chances in the South. If you mess up and you need an abortion, it is very challenging, very expensive to get one. So I want to back up. Let's try not to get pregnant. Can we do that? I think we can, but that takes a little bit of planning. Here in Colorado, we have school-based clinics in most of our high schools. Colorado has cut their teenage pregnancy rate by 50% by offering kids contraceptives at the same time they're learning math and English. I think that's a stroke of genius, but I know every state doesn't have that. I know there's Planned Parenthood in your neighborhood. You can go through your private insurance company, or you can go to Costco and get a case of condoms. I'm sorry that the sponge is no longer on the market. Sorry about that, but there are other workarounds, as they say, around this problem. but that means having tools and having communication with your daughter. You want to be talking to them about sex. You want to be talking to them about saving themselves for someone who's worth that. Jackasses are not worth losing your virginity to. It just is not a lot of fun. There's a lot of nice guys out there, and these are the conversations you need to be having with your daughters. I feel awful that you can't get an abortion in the South. I feel traumatized by that, actually. And as time goes on, this issue is going to become more and more, as they say, emergent. The wealthy people are still going to be able to get their abortions. That's what wealthy people do. They coast very well through life. If you have limited resources, it's going to come down to some dire decisions and some really difficult decisions. If you talked about contraception with your daughter before they start having sex, not after, before, if you start with them before, you can prevent pregnancy. The birth control is 99% effective. And I work at a school, so I know that's an A+ rating. 99% effective is pretty amazing. So, I don't know what to say. I guess if you've never talked with your kids about sex, it's hard to start now. I started talking to my kids about body safety and child abuse before they could walk. So I'm a little unconventional. But I say you sit down with them and you say, hey, do you want to watch Julie Federico's video with me? If you don't know what to say, play them this video and have a conversation with them afterwards about some talking points. Some talking points would be, please tell me when you're sexually active and we will get you birth control. Please tell me if you're unsure of how to navigate any of this, and I'll tell you what I know. I always tell my kids, I'll tell you everything I know about sex. It might not be everything, but I'll give you as much information as you want. And make sure your information is age appropriate. 8-year-olds don't need this information. I wouldn't even show them this video. I wouldn't even be talking to an 8-year-old about sex. Anyone 13, 14, 15 on up, they need this information. Kids start having sex at a much younger age than what parents think. And I know they do because I used to work at a middle school. Middle schoolers don't know how to have safe sex. It's just not what they do. So you need to help them. You need to guide them. You need to get them birth control and keep them safe. Because it's going to be rocky out there if you cannot terminate an unwanted pregnancy. Please reach out to me on my website. I'm at www.juliefederico.com. I'd love to answer your questions, or I'd love to come talk to your church group even, or your Girl Scout group, or any group to help get this message out to people. Now is the time to talk about sex. It is in the forefront of all of our minds. Just like we never used to talk about the coronavirus, we didn't really talk about the sex that much, but we're going to have to be talking about the coronavirus and sex probably for the rest of our lives. Or until maybe one day they re-overturn Roe versus Wade. But I still think you need to be talking to your kids about sex. It's very important, and it can really ruin your life if you mess up. You get one chance. Don't let your kids mess up. Please protect your children. Please protect your young daughters, especially if you live in Alabama, Mississippi, and those southern areas. But it's not just the South. It's kind of branching out across multiple states, and I haven't researched every state that's outlawed it yet. I'll do that in my free time later. Please reach out to me. I talk about anything. I would love to help you. I'd love to help you navigate this with your child. And if you'd like to have a Zoom with me, have an hour-long conversation about sexuality and how to protect yourself, it's $200, and I'll give you a whole hour and as many resources as you want. I can't overturn Roe versus Wade, so now I'm picking up the pieces, picking up the condoms, trying to get them out into people's hands. Please stay safe. Please protect your children. Thanks for listening to me. This is Julie Federico. Bye-bye.